Salina. It's a bad baby. Oak Cliff girl. Can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl. Put them heels on and rule. Welcome to Selena's Couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows. It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You're gonna be my number one lover. Everybody making love to each other. With the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, babe. And I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana nana boo boo.
Hello. I hope that everyone can hear me. I hope that you guys are having a happy Saturday. It's sun shining for the time being in Dallas, Texas. So today I'm not really doing anything today, just sitting back and relaxing. I have the whole summer to kind of get out and do something. So God willing, I'm just gonna just sit back here and enjoy myself today. I ain't trying to do nothing. Nothing. I'm gonna do some chores around the house, but I wanted to talk about this particular subject because I don't know if anybody in your family has struggled with any type of mental illness, and there's a big stigma behind people that have mental illness. A lot of, especially in the Black community, a lot of people do not want to talk about mental disorders, but it's there. And if you can see how some people behave, some people are so either delusional or they're so just blinded. They don't see some of the symptoms of what mental illness, what it is. And especially in the Black community, people don't want to be seen as being crazy or going to the crazy house. So they get on substance. They start to use substance abuse to numb the pain or to avoid what is actually going on in their brain. And I'm just going to name some of the most common, I would say, mental disorders that people talk about in this day and time. And some of you guys have probably even experienced it in your family. You've probably have maybe had some, different disorders as well. I had a aunt, she struggled with depression, right? And her I would say disorder was more functioning depression, because she was able to clean her house, cook for her husband, her children, keep herself together. But she would sleep for a long time, because at that time she had retired. She had nothing, going on. She was older. And so she would just sleep long hours at a time. And, she didn't know what was going on. And when I was young, I didn't know what it was either. We just thought this auntie was just lazy. But really, a lot of the times, a lot of older Black people, they struggle with different mental disorders, such as depression, right? Depression can be very tricky. A lot of people are functioning, but they're depressed. Some people don't even think they're depressed. They're like, oh, I'm just having one of those days, or I can't sleep at night, or I can't focus. My brain is just everywhere. Sometimes you are having depression. And see, I notice a lot of the times I have certain things about me. I have some anxiety on certain things, and I react to certain things impulsively because of my anxiety. So we just have to really be real with ourselves. And this month is the mental health awareness month. And actually, this is the very last day. And I'm so glad we were talking. I was talking to some friends of mine, and we were just talking about how a lot of people struggle with mental illness or mental disorders. And I said, you know what? And one of the friends said, this is the mental health awareness month. And I was like, this would be a perfect topic to actually talk about. Because this is the last day of mental health month. And see, a lot of people say they want different type of content, but when it's actually in front of their face, it's not received. I think it's because it could be the messenger, but regardless of the messenger, the truth is the truth. Okay, it's mental health awareness, and a lot of our around does not really pay attention to mental health awareness month. A lot of the times we don't want to be seen as being crazy, but the truth of the matter is it is there and it's never going to end. We all have somebody in our family, or either we deal with some type of disorder. Now I'm going to go through the chat. Hey, Emmanuel, thank you for coming through. Thank you, Marissa. You said you struggle with PSTD. Right. Divine Diva, thank you for coming through. And like I said, this is the different kind of content that people ask for that they never show up for. So the different disorders, the mental disorders that most people struggle with, that have, that you hear about in the media, that, now people are coming to the forefront and they're actually talking about it. We all know anxiety. Some people have pain disorder. That's a sudden, unexpected panic attack that's intense with fear and the physical symptoms and the feelings of impending doom. Have you ever had those type of feelings, or someone that's like that? Some mental disorders are different types of phobias. There's a social phobia where you don't even like to be around big crowds. There's all different type of phobias that people have. Bipolar disorder. That's a condition that is marked by extreme mood swings between periods of manic, or extreme, and depression. Of course, depression, that's the prolonged state of sadness, hopeless, loss of interest in activities. Some people have hey, Miss V, some people have so much of depression, and hey, Hassan, that holds them down. That depression stops some people from cleaning their house. Hey, Mr. Kimi, if you ever notice, why is when you go on TV and you see these shows where people they have the hoarders, they don't clean their homes, their house is packed with trash, and because they deal with some type of depression. Depression will make you not want to clean up your house. It will make you collect things so that you can feel safe and that you can feel like, that there's something of importance to you and you don't want to give it up. And, depression can have you not wanting to take baths and cleaning yourself, taking care of your children, taking care of your spouse, letting your work job, letting your work duties go, below average because you are focusing on your depression. Depression can have such a hold on your mind. There's also anti-personality disorder. It's a pattern of a disregard for the rights of others, including lying, manipulation, and violence. This is the antisocial personality disorder. Now, we see a lot of that on YouTube, okay? Hey, Mr. Kimi. Hey, Miss Flo, Miss Joe. So we see a lot of that on YouTube. What about obsessive compulsive disorder? right? That's when you have a pattern where you're preoccupied with, everything being orderly. You want everything perfect. You want everything perfect. You're a perfectionist, or you want to control everything around you. People have eating disorders. This is when you see the 600 pounds type of reality shows, because these are people that struggle with obsessive compulsive disorder. Their pattern is always food, and it's repetitive. They always have to eat. They feel so good. They get a natural high from just eating, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD. This disorder that can be developed after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event, right? Marked by an intrusive thoughts, nightmares, avoidance of triggers, right? So there's a lot of different things that people have. These are considered disorders. Schizophrenic, when you're hearing voices, okay? And these voices are keeping you up at night. All of these are disorders. See, this is the type of content that people say they want, but they don't show up for. Okay. And this is how you know when people are really serious about different type of content, which I feel is BS. To be honest with you, most people do not care about being aware. They want to talk about it, but about being about it is two totally different things. And this is what's going on in the world today. Hey, Ryan. Hey, CP3. This is what's going on in the world today. People are struggling with mental illness, and they think that they're okay. They're hearing voices, and they think that's normal. They think they're talking to themselves, but actually, they have a mental disorder. It may be schizophrenia. It may be, a number of things that could be the problem. Right? So there's mood disorders, there's dissociative disorders, there's trauma, there's stressor related disorders, there are neurodevelopmental disorders, there's all types of disorders, anxiety disorders. Hey, Miss Collins. Hey, Ryan. Hey, CX. Thank you for coming. But like I said, see, this is the content that people say they want, that they don't show up for. But I sometimes I believe it's the messenger, maybe not the message, but the truth is the truth, regardless of who says it. And so this is the month that we focus on the awareness of why our communities are suffering, why are people in our families suffering from mental illness, and what can we do? Why are we suffering from some mental illness? See, a lot of the times I wasn't aware that I had struggled with anxiety. I struggled in some points of my life with depression. And I thought I was okay because I was a functional person. I worked. I kept up with, my work duties. I kept up with showing up to family events and putting on a happy smile and acting like everything was okay. When people would ask me how I was doing, I'm like, I'm blessed, which I am blessed. But I wasn't okay, right? And so there's nothing wrong with understanding what is going on with you. And there's nothing wrong with finding someone that you can actually talk to. And that's why it's really important that our people in our communities, wherever we are in our family, to make sure we know, to let people know, even with ourselves, there's nothing wrong with talking to someone. And a lot of us can't talk to our family. We may love them dearly, but a lot of us can't talk to our family. So it's nothing wrong with getting a counselor or a therapist. And when people say, I can't afford that mess, there's a lot of, in different states that have clinics that are run by the government that actually will allow you and to be able to get counseling for free. When I didn't have the money to go to get a counselor and my insurance wouldn't cover it at the time, there was clinics that offered that. And I was able to get the help that I needed. So it's nothing wrong with getting the help, right? So I'm going to show some videos to you. This is under fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, and scholarship, education, and research. This is under fair use. Some of the things that I will be showing you today. And let me turn my phone off, because as soon as I get started, then you have people that want to call. Hey, Trip, how are you? You have people that want to call. So I'm going to go ahead and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And I'm going to share this, guys, with you. Now, this is a teaching live today. And also, I will have an open panel so that anybody that is interested on coming up, you are more than welcome, to share what you would have to share. See, Mr. Kimi, this is what people want. Right? That's what they said, Mr. Kimi. They want this type of content, right? Doubt it. Okay, so I went into Google and I wanted to know what was the difference between mental disorder and mental illness, okay? So if we can see right here, I'm just going to read some of it. It says, in the context of mental health, mental disorder and mental illness are often interchangeable. Although mental illness can be preferred by some individuals, essentially they both refer to conditions that affect a person's thinking, feeling, mood, or behavior, leading to distress or impairment in functioning. Okay? So they give the difference here. The mental disorders. This is a term used more broadly and can encompass various conditions, including mental illness, developmental disorders, and personality disorders. It's a general term used to describe a disturbance in an individual's behavior, cognitive, or emotions that cause significant distress or impairment. Okay? Mental illness. The term specifically refers to diagnosable mental health conditions, often used to describe a health condition involving changes in emotions, thinking, or behavior. Examples include depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. Basically, they are interchangeable. Okay, mental health versus mental illness. It says mental health refers to a state of well-being, while mental illness is specific condition that can affect a person's mental health. Mental health is a state of emotional, psychological, social well-being, encompassing all aspects of how we think, feel, and act. Okay, so those are some of the definitions of what mental illness is and what mental health is, what mental disorders are. And as we've seen up here, mental illness and mental disorders are interchangeable. Okay, so I'm wanted to share that with you guys so we can kind of know the textbook of what mental illness is. Hey boss man, mental illness is why some people unalive themselves. Depression can be one of them, right? People that have schizophrenia, sometimes because of the voices that torment them, could be something that would make somebody unalive themselves. A lot of the times when people, hey CC, they usually cut themselves. They usually do any type of self-mutilation That, that's basically cutting themselves. And, when you hear of people saying that they're cutters, a lot of times they're not trying to unalive themselves. Sometimes that could be a sign, but not all the time. Sometimes when people cut themselves, and they're called cutters, they are trying to deal with the pain. So they would rather cut themselves. It's a warped type of thinking, but when people have mental illness, to them it makes sense. When they cut themselves, it makes them feel good because they already feel pain in their life. So this makes them feel less like they're less numb. It's a very distorted way of thinking. Hey, sweet Rita, but people struggle with this. Okay. And so this is nothing to make light of. Hey, Miss Just saying, it's nothing to make light of. People really are going through, and more than not, that's why a lot of these celebrities and people that got a lot of money, you would think they would be happy. Hell, I know I would. I would be traveling. I would be just living it up. But to be honest with you, just because you have a lot of money, that don't mean you have joy. Just because you have a lot of money don't mean you have a peace of mind. And that's why you see a lot of celebrities and people in the entertainment business struggle with so many different depression and different type of mental illness, and they want to unalive themselves. I would just say, I've heard of so many celebrities. Some of these people are not even A-list actors, and maybe some are, that have unalived themselves because of depression. People that work in the adult industry struggle with a lot of mental disorders. They unalive themselves due to depression. So depression is something that it doesn't care what ethnic background you come from, how much money you have or how little you have, how old you are, how young you are. Mental disorders are all around, and it can attach itself to anyone. Now, if we go to some of the people in the church say it's a demon connected to you. And sometimes it could be spiritual. And sometimes it could be a chemical imbalance in your brain. So that sometimes has been tested as well. So we don't always know where it comes from. It could be hereditary. Maybe someone in your family has struggled with schizophrenia, and then you got it. Some people put it back to having generational curses. We have no really idea where it stems from. We just know that it's there. So since we know that it's there, how can we deal with it? How can we move past our mental disorders or mental illness? How can we help other people that struggle with this? Number one, to thy own self be true. Like I talked about last night, don't act like you don't have issues. Don't act like you don't have problems and that you have it all together. That's number one. You must know yourself and you must be true to yourself. If you are struggling with depression, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is staying there. If you struggle with schizophrenia and you're hearing voices, there's nothing wrong with it, but be real with it and get the help that you need. Medication for some people is not always the key. Sometimes it's just a simple thing by having someone that doesn't know you to hear you out. Most of us want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. Hey, Mel. That's why so many people go to social media and act a fool, because they want to be seen. They want to be heard when they really need to be in someone's counseling session. And how do I know? Because I go to counseling. So I'm not talking about something that I heard. I'm talking about something that I know. Like I said, don't be worried about the messenger, worry about the message. Because see, if you worry about me being the messenger and trying to judge me, you're going to miss the message. The message is none of us have it all together. Let's just keep it 100. I don't care what kind of great things you got going in your life, you struggling in some area of your life, whether it's spiritually, whether it's mentally, whether it's financially, you struggling, and some of us struggling on all 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got issues. Some of us got traumas that happened to us when we was 5 years old, and we still ain't got over it. Right? And so that little girl and that little boy comes out, and it reacts when it should be silent. I talk a lot about emotional intelligence because when I'm on here, I'm going to have to use it. When I'm at work, I have to use it. When I'm just going to the store, I'm going to have to use it. Why? Because you got people that's going to piss you off or do something to you every day. Right? There was times where I would respond without thinking, and I was not using my emotional intelligence. And then when I sit back, I said, damn, I let somebody pull me in again. When I know better, right? We do it. I'm not exempt. I can't judge nobody. I just can tell you how not to go down the pitfalls I went down, because I know how it look, and I know it don't look good. Okay? So that's why when I go to counseling, hey, TLJ, TLJ, when I go to counseling and I talk to my counselor, she's giving me strategies on how to deal with conflict resolution that most people don't understand, right? Having a game plan on how to deal with conflict, either resolve it, and sometimes resolve it is simply just walking away, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, TLJ. Sometimes I forget. So I don't want our community, in the Black community, brown community, even in the Caucasian community, all people need to be aware that mental health is real. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. If you struggle in some areas, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Most people that become ashamed of what they're dealing with, they unalive themselves because they don't like the stigma of being called crazy or being looked at as being crazy or weird, right? Hey Lou, how are you? So this is the things that I want to talk about. So I don't want to hear and we have different content creators, women and men, that actually talk about subjects like this. We need this type of content. Well, when we have the type of content, show up and show out. I shouldn't have to yell and scream and have to name somebody or be associated with someone for people to hear me. Like I said, get beyond the messenger and look at the message. The message is staring you right in the face that people got mental illness issues. You may have mental illness issues, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just get the help that you need. Right. A lot of people don't support therapy because they say it's a white man's, technique, or a white man's doctrine or whatever. But doctors, therapists, psychiatrists, yes, sometimes they are controlled by, the government, and especially when they're in different communities, they try to, put a lot of medication on certain types of people to dumb them down. I understand that. But at the same time, some of the medication, some of the therapy, this is actually meant to help you to get in a better state of mind. There's some things you cannot pray away, okay? That's why God gave some people the ability to study medicine, to study the mind. So it's like people get too involved in what or care too much about what people think rather than I need help. I don't have it all together. I may make a lot of money. I may be poor. I may be fat. I may be skinny. Whatever your deal is, I may be white. I may be black. If you need help, you just need help. At the end of the day, I personally, I was more homicidal than suicidal. I'm just going to be honest with you. But some people, their mindsets, and because life did not pan out the way they expected it to, they get depressed, they get down on themselves, and they give up on life, right? And sometimes someone that would just simply listen to them or try to understand what they're going through, that takes people a long way. That gives some people hope that I can try this again, right? I was talking to some friends today, and I was talking about, and some of you guys know, I don't really talk about a lot of my personal life because I understand where I am, okay? So that is not the safe thing to do. But I had to tell them this because I really I can understand why I'm this way, why I don't give up so easily. And the reason why I was telling them, I had a lot, just like some of you have been through a lot of things in your life. And even I've been through a lot of things in my life. And I said, the reason why I didn't give up when I wanted to and why I haven't given up now. Hey, Captain Wolf. Many of you guys know that I am very close to I'm close to a lot of my family, but I have one sister that is exceptional to me. Actually, she's old enough to be my mother. And her husband was actually like a father, a spiritual father, as well as an uncle and a brother-in-law. So he meant a lot to me. And I was telling them the story about when he was in the hospital and he was dying of stage 4 colon cancer. He never gave up. And I talked about that because it is a very traumatic, devastating thing to see someone that you love, that you feel is a good person, that did their very best to help people, dying in front of your face, right? And he never gave up. He always had hope. He always tried to encourage other people, even when he was in his deathbed, until his last breath. And that, to me, I learned a lesson from that experience, that devastating experience, never to give up. See, a lot of times we go through little things in life, and not little things, but big things, and we don't see the lesson in it, right? And even though at the time I was going through a hard time seeing my loved one dying in front of me and going through other things, whether it was on YouTube, which was just little because, this is YouTube, or going through things in real life, I got a little depressed, right? And then seeing this didn't make it even better. It didn't make it better, right? Made it worse. But what I learned as I'm looking at this man dying and how he didn't give up until his last breath, it taught me a valuable lesson to never give up until you breathe your last breath. So that is why, besides the strength of God and the grace of God, that I can keep going. And that's why a lot of things will not break me. Because until I breathe and live my last day or breathe my last breath, I still got fight in me. That's why I can fight through depression. That's why I can fight through my anxiety, because it's in me never to give up. And I had a living example. Many of you guys have living examples. And if you don't, there's something that should give you hope, or someone should give you some type of encouragement, hopefully, that you will understand that you don't have to give up. Even though we wake up in sometimes our misery or sometimes in our mental pain, there's some hope because we're not dead yet. Okay. So my point is to you and everybody else that life is just like what Forrest Gump said. Well, what his mama told him. Life is like a box of chocolate. You just never know what you're gonna get. But in the I would say event of what getting a different type of chocolate that you didn't expect, you have to learn how to deal with it and move accordingly. Because real life happens to all of us. And it don't care what color you are. It doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care how fine or how ugly you are. It doesn't care how thin or how fat you are. Life happens to us all. And sometimes, hey Golden, life hurts real bad, right? I'm going to share with you a story that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting about a young man. And his family saw his struggles. They just didn't know how to help him. And most of the time, people see your struggle, or you see other people struggle. You just don't know how to help them until there's a dreadful event that happens. And, you know, you're thinking, what could I have done to help this person? What could I have done to maybe, you know, stop this from happening? Right? Right. Like I said, there's a lot of things that happens in our lives and people that touch our lives that become our saving grace. Right? So Lou says his saving grace was his grandbaby. Somebody else's saving grace might be their mother. Somebody else's saving grace may be their father or their sister or a counselor or a teacher. Everybody has a saving grace that stopped them from going down the wrong road. Hey goddess, good to see you. Everybody has a saving grace, right? So I'm going to share this video with you for those that will stay around. I will be stopping because, again, you know, this is a video that I'm sharing, but this is under fair use. And I said that before, copyright under Section 107, Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, education, and research. I wanted to make sure I read that. So, but this is under fair use. Let me go ahead and share this. Hope you guys stick around, but if not, thank you for coming. I hope you press the like button. And if you haven't, I hope you like, share, and subscribe. So let me share this, guys, with you. Now, you know what? I need to turn down this music. I was just trying this music today and seeing how it would sound. Okay, and put that on pause. This is a young man's S-word and the failures of mental health access in Black communities. So, but again, anytime that you are low income, you're living in under poverty, you are at a disadvantage. So that could be any color. It doesn't matter. And if you don't have the resources, or you don't know someone that knows about different resources, you will be left out in the dark, and your mental health will go unchecked. And that's why a lot of people numb themselves with drugs and alcohol and other things, overeating, because they are not aware of some of the resources in front of them.
Justin is my youngest brother. We started to notice some signs of what we didn't know was a mental illness then, but we now know he was showing signs of living with schizophrenia. Unfortunately, Justin didn't get the support and help that he needed early, and it manifested into a schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. That's what he was diagnosed with at the age of 23, and the two together are considered schizoaffective disorder. Shortly after his diagnosis, my brother Justin completed suicide within 5 months of receiving a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder. There's a lot of things that I believe that could have been different when it came to Justin and him receiving treatment. One, it could have, if we had known earlier or sooner, we hope we would have gotten him the right help to hopefully prevent him from suffering as long as he did. I think if there was more access to services in our community, we really didn't know of them and where they were at. So, I mean, you could have the information, but still not have the tools to make things happen, you know? And even after he had his diagnosis, I don't believe he was still heard or seen as a whole person. From our conversations before being diagnosed, we feared being labeled, being treated different.
He feared being labeled and treated different by other people because of his mental disorder. Did you guys hear him? You hear what he's saying? He feared. And that's the thing that we as people have to learn to get over. And I think it's because so many people put on a mask as if they're okay, because they don't want other people to see their vulnerability. They don't want other people to see their weaknesses. And I understand to an extent, because everybody cannot handle what you're going through. Everybody can't handle your weaknesses or your I would say your faults, or you just can't vent to everyone. Everybody doesn't have that type of heart. And I understand why some people fear going to other people, telling them what they're dealing with, because it's hard to trust people. So you have to put on a mask sometimes so that people cannot see your weaknesses, so they can't try to hurt you even more. See, a lot of the times people hide things of what they're going through because they've been hurt so many times by people that they trust, you know? And when you've been hurt so many times by people that you've trusted, you never want to be vulnerable again. The problem is, find someone that is a helping professional, that is a health professional, that is in the profession that helps people, such as counselors, such as people that deal with, any type of therapy. Even support groups are healthy for some people. So we have to get beyond the stigma. We have to get beyond the fear. We got to trust somebody sometime. And I understand the problem is sometimes trusting the wrong people has damaged some of us to want to reach out. But this is, when you are drowning, in your mental illness or in your disorder, no one is going to hurt at the end of the day more than anything but you. You're not protecting yourself by holding it in. You're only harming yourself even more. Hey, what a man.
Even after his diagnosis, I don't think there was even a change in how I would say the community, our family treated him, meaning we really didn't know what to do or how to help him. So he was oftentimes alone.
The disparities within the mental health care, specifically within the Black community, is one I think we don't talk about much. I always bring it back to slavery, right? So where we weren't able to talk about what we were going through, it was like, shut up and do your job or do the work, right? Because if you show any ounce of weakness, what does that mean for you? When you're getting beat or when you're told to do X, Y, and Z, you're not supposed to exhibit those emotions and feelings. So again, I feel like just through history, it's just been passed down from generation to generation. Think of our history, right, is the Tuskegee experiments. Black men that were injected with syphilis, but it was said to be helping them, but they were actually injected with that disease. Women who were slaves were operated on with hysterectomies without their consents. And so we just think about that, just like how we don't trust those systems because we felt like they were manipulating us and being deceitful, and we end result of what happened to us. And so it is natural for us as Black people to be skeptical. What therapy? You want me to tell somebody all my business? How can I be sure that you're not going to take it further than just our conversation within your office?
We have a lot of gun death here in Wisconsin. The majority of it are gun suicides, just like my mom. Here in Milwaukee, here in Wisconsin, it is easier to get a gun than it is to get your first mental health care appointment. Think about that. Put that in context, right? Think about if you were in the throes of crisis and you already don't know how to get the kind of help that you need. It might take you a month, 6 weeks before you can get into that first appointment. But here, while you're waiting that 4 to 6 weeks to get in there, you can go buy a gun. Gun suicides happen every 22 minutes in this country. Every 22 minutes. When you introduce a gun into the equation of someone who was already mentally unwell, like my mom was, that is a deadly result that's going to happen.
Hello, this is Trony with the Next Step Clinic, calling to speak with Ms. Tia. Again, my name is Trony. I'm an autism family navigator with the Next Step Clinic, calling to in regards to the referral that was made for your child. Thank you.
Hey,
what I do
Tanya.
for work is I'm an autism family navigator with the Next Step Clinic. I work with families who have concerns for their child's neurodevelopment as well as their mental health. I don't know, I just wish that he was here to see where we're at now. So I probably wouldn't be married right now if it wasn't for him. Probably wouldn't have beautiful kids. I probably wouldn't be here talking, working with families and helping them address their needs and really paying attention to those early signs of when there's something going on. And when I think about what's left behind and not having my brother with me, with us, I mean, there's so many moments. He doesn't get the opportunity to see the changes that I've made in my life, because of him, the influence he's had on me, because he encouraged me, to be better than I once was.
See, his brother used his purpose, his pain, and turned it into his purpose. And that's what we have to do. A lot of the times we have to turn from our pain and make it our purpose. And this is what, he saw his brother struggling mentally. And now he's helping people that have, autism, and anybody that struggles with their neuro, any child that suffers with their neuro systems and stuff like that, helping parents with some of the, I would say, resources. So this is what our pain looks like when it's turned into our purpose. That makes sense. See, people want to always talk about, doing uplifting content and doing content that is informative, that is encouraging. And that has been the purpose. That was the purpose of my platform. And I know some of you guys that's in the chat, if you are a content creator, that's your purpose can be totally different than mine, right? My purpose was not to go off and addressing people and cussing them out, even though I have done that. But my main purpose was really to inform and encourage people and to really open people's eyes up to the reality if they are not aware of what's going on in the world outside of YouTube, right? So when I seen that this was a much needed topic and how people just sweep this type of stuff up under the rug, this is why so many people are struggling mentally. They're struggling emotionally because they sweep everything under the rug. And here you are today, trying to figure things out. You can't sleep at night. You're always tossing and turning. You don't like being in big crowds because you have so much anxiety. You still have nightmares of what happened to you when you was 5 years old. And see, this is why we have to deal with things now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't ever look to be a content creator, and I, and I'm not trying to speak this, but I don't ever look to be a content creator that can hold hundreds and thousands of people. I just don't. That may not be what God would have for me. That may not be my purpose or my influence, right? But I definitely, when I get off of this app, I want to be proud of myself that I stayed consistent and that I stayed focused and I did what I said that my channel was supposed to be about. That's what I want to feel like when I get off of here. And I quote this because I always wanted to remind myself before I put on a mask and try to be something that I'm not, to thy own self be true. Okay? So if people think that my content is not thrilling enough, I can't shake my titties enough, or I shake my booty and twerk enough, I'm sorry. This is what I have to give you. Either take it or leave it. This is what's going on. Too many people in our community and other communities, even maybe in the Muslim community, don't take mental health, I would say, seriously. Let's just keep it real. People sweep it under the rug because it has a stigma behind it that you're crazy, that you belong in an insane asylum, that you should have a straitjacket. And some people do. But I cannot diagnose you because I am not a psychiatrist. Okay? So I cannot diagnose anyone. But their behavior, some of the symptoms, goes up under some mental disorders, right? So this young man turned his pain into a purpose. The brother took his life because he could not stand the voices that he was hearing. Those voices was tormenting his whole life, and he couldn't trust anybody or felt like he couldn't go to anybody because, number one, with him being in a low-income area, there's sometimes lack of resources. Let's just keep it real. If you ain't got money, counselors ain't gonna go and see you unless you go under a clinic that is sponsored by the government. And even sometimes with them, because the workload is so heavy for a lot of these caseworkers and counselors that work in those clinics, they can't see everybody. So you have a lot of people fall by the wayside and they go into the streets. They are homeless. They get on drugs to medicate themselves, to stop hearing the voices that they hear all the time. That's why you see so many people, when they are on drugs, they are zoned out. They're like zombies because they're tired of hurting mentally. Right? So we just have to be real with ourselves. I told you some of my struggles. with anxiety and some with depression. And I don't care what anybody says, but some of the same people that will make fun of you probably deal with worse things than I deal with if they were honest with themselves, right? So I think that it's time for us to come out of the shadows and actually be real with what's going on with us mentally, right? What's going on with us emotionally? What's going on with us spiritually? Are we connected to anything besides YouTube, besides the Twitter, besides alcohol, besides drugs, besides sex, besides food? Are we connected to anything? Right? So we hide behind a lot of different things. We hide behind the facades that we want people to believe that's really us when it's really not. We hide behind these alter egos and thinking it's cute when it's really that little girl that's having a temper tantrum, or that little boy that's having a temper tantrum that needs to go sit his ass down somewhere and heal, get some help, and be a grown man and be a grown woman and face your challenges as a grown man and a grown woman that is healthy in the mind and in the spirit. And it takes work. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a process that all of us have to go down. Have I reached it? Absolutely not. Am I in the process? Absolutely. I'm not allowing other people to play me like a puppet because I understand the traps. I understand my triggers. I understand that my emotional intelligence will help me get through anything. But I got to listen to it and I got to practice it. Right? So these are the messages that people say they want to hear, but they really don't want to hear. These are the conversations that people say they want to talk about, but they really don't want to talk about. Right? It could be the messenger, but get beyond the messenger and see the message. Right? So I'm going to play it a little bit more and then I'm going to go to something else.
We don't value those who struggle with mental health care. They are cast aside. I consider and tell you, as a 43-year-old man, I've attempted suicide 3 times in my life.
How many times did this man attempt to suicide? Excuse me, S word, 3 times. This man in front of us that looked so well put together tried to commit the S word 3 times. Don't let people's facade fool you. Okay? Don't let people that sit up in nice homes and cars and nice suit, a nice dress, don't let it fool you. People have real struggles that they can't even talk about because they've been hurt so much by people that they feel like if I say anything, I'm letting my armor down. They can hurt me again. That's why so many people go within. And when they go within, it's hard for any message or any hope sometimes to reach them because they took everything within instead of taking it out. Letting others see that I have struggles and finding the right person that can actually help them. Finding the right group. Sometimes therapy for some people may not be the thing. Sometimes support groups help certain people. Some people go to grief support groups when they've lost a loved one. And they go in other groups in a group that actually helps them, people that are dealing with the exact same thing. And that's a good thing for some people. Some people just need a community because they can't go to their family. They can't go to their nearest friends, which I think you should be. But everybody doesn't have the capability or the heart to understand where you're coming from. And some people just don't care. 99% of people do not care about your problems. And I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. You have 1% of people, especially if they have experienced something similar to what you've experienced, that will be able to understand and empathize and sympathize with you. But for the most part, do not be fooled. Don't tell everybody your business. Understand, be very selective with your issues and who you tell. Because 99% of people do not care about what you're going through. And I'm sorry to inform you of that. But it's true. But my point to you is, do not let well put together people fool you. They are going through struggles just like the man on the street, just like the single mother living on Section 8, just like the the man that's struggling with a meth habit on the streets, just like the movie star that's making millions of dollars and dressing and going to the Grammys and going to the Oscars. Mental disorder does not discriminate. Doesn't discriminate.
Okay to not be okay, and we as black men have to be strong enough to be willing to admit that, because too many men of color especially go untreated, which leads to further issues within their life that are going to prevent them or inhibit them from being able to live the life that they would choose to, because again, depression is lying to them. We need to destigmatize mental health. We need to destigmatize those of us who attempted suicide, accept that people have, and then be the champions for them, enable them to be the champions for themselves so that they can find their own self-worth again, so they can find the value in their own lives.
Especially things with our black men and our black boys, we tell them, you're crying, you're acting like a girl, stop it, man up. And then we wonder why many of our black men are so angry, because they've been told, don't share your emotions, because only women do that. And so I think we have to even realize how we are attributing to those factors. I hear a lot of clients that want somebody that looks like them on the other end of that couch. And I think just having it accessible, so even in certain communities, you might not have access to be able to connect with a therapist office because it might be miles away from where you live. And also too, we're talking about fees and rates and insurance. Sometimes unfortunately, you might have to fight the insurance just to get your mental health needs serviced, or you might feel that therapy is too much in terms of cost, and so you might just want to eliminate it altogether. But people not knowing that there's power when we do speak up and we begin to open up.
That's awesome. Like I said, it's about turning your pain into your purpose. Not staying there, and I don't want to sound cliche or anything, but it's about really using what you've been through to actually be a help to other people, because when you go through things, you're not meant to just keep things to yourself. You're actually meant to help someone behind you. See, when I'm going through things, if I can help somebody with it, just like I was telling you about my experience watching my brother-in-law die in front of me, and how that gave me the lesson to not give up. I can take that lesson and give that to someone else that feels like they want to give up, like all hope is gone. They have nothing to live for. And it may not help them, but at least I can say that I poured back into somebody's life, right? See, we're in this life not just for ourselves, we're in this life for other people as well. If that's the case, it would just be us on this earth and nobody else, right? We're meant to use what we've been through and apply it to our lives and help other people to see the light as well. Again, this is not on some super positive crap, this is on real life. This is what real people that struggle with mental illness. That's why so many people come to the internet to get entertainment. Why? Because a lot of times their real life is hell. They hate their real life. They're going through so much. They don't know how to handle it. So they come to YouTube to escape. It's nothing wrong with escaping for a little while, but when you finish turning this internet or phone off, you're going to still have the same problems. You're going to still have the same voices in your head that you can't get rid of because you're tormented, right? You're going to still think about what happened to you when you was 8 years old and your uncle was touching you. You're going to still think about what happened when your daddy left. You're going to still think about why did your mama not love you enough? So at the end of the day, after you turn off these devices and you finish escaping in the entertainment of drama, you're still going to be left with your problems, right? And I would say some of the other people that fall by the wayside, and I don't understand why, are veterans of the United States. There are so many veterans that have fought for our country and that have been in service, and they have been overlooked. But you cannot imagine going into another country and seeing some of the things that some of these men have and women have seen. I'm sorry, proper English, seen. And they have seen dead bodies everywhere. They have had to see children's bodies blown up. They have maybe even had to defend themselves from children that had bombs. All of that will play on people's minds and their mental. And that's why a lot of the times when veterans come back from, their service, they are mentally disturbed because they have experienced and seen so much. They just don't know how to handle back to everyday life. That's a struggle for people, right? And sometimes our veterans are overlooked for their mental health. So a lot of them, when they come back, they're either homeless, they're either dependent on substance, right? Substance like drugs, and they become addicted, and then their symptoms get worse. So my point of doing this live, not only because it's the Mental Health Awareness Month, is to inform people that there's nothing wrong with getting help. If you have a problem, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people that you may see some signs of them kind of dealing with some things. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually, like I said, we are here to help other people. At the end of the day, we're here to help other people. And right, Taryn, I got with a lot of it. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I talked about that, because like I said, people got some real issues and they're not really being truthful to themselves. If you would be so kind, if you have it, and if you don't, I understand. Please help me to reach my goal. I would truly appreciate it. But if you do not, then I'm going to still keep going and still keep doing my content. But I did want to make it very clear to people that, you know, this is a real thing. And that's why I say when people ask for certain, and I keep repeating it because I need it to get in people's heads, right? It's an open panel. As long as we stay on topic, Lou, I don't have an issue. So, you know, stay on topic with what we're talking about. It's an open panel. Everybody is welcome. So as long as, you know, people keep hiding behind these facades and hiding behind all this other stuff, they're going to continue to be where they are. So it is best for people to just come out the shadows, like I said, and be themselves and tell what is going on. Quit worrying about the stigma of being called crazy. People gonna call you crazy even when you're not crazy. Okay, so it's better to get help for your own health, your own mental health. You know, I did pin the link at the very top, so anybody is more than welcome to come up if you are still here. But this is something, and you know, mental illness, and I would say with depression especially, there's a lot of people that have depression. They look so happy. They're always smiling. They're always, you know, being the life of the party. Those are the same people that want to unalive themselves, or those are the same people that struggle and can't sleep at night and have struggles in relationships because they struggle with depression, you know. So the link is pinned. If anybody else would like to come up, you're more than welcome. I would like to welcome to the panel Lou and Mel Dub. Thank you guys for coming up and showing me some love and some support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Selena. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's some echo going on. I don't know
Oh,
where
but
that's
let me
coming from.
let me. I got my hearing aids on. Let me close my window. Kid outside going
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
Is that a little better?
Yes, yes, that's a
Okay.
lot better. Oh, I
Oh
still
yeah, I
hear the
just had.
echo. Okay.
Wait, let me turn it down, son. Hold on. My bad. My bad. I got my hearing aids connected. Is that better?
Yes, I don't hear the echo as bad.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that. You know, I'm a supporter of therapy. You know,
Right.
I've been in therapy for 7 years. You know, 7 years ago I lost somebody I love, and then 2 years ago I lost two of my babies.
Right.
So,
Sorry
you
about
know,
that.
I've been going through a lot of, you know, like mental stuff, and you know, like when I lost the person I love, I went through 2 years of don't remember my life, and I did a lot of drinking, and my wife had told me that I spent 2 years in a dark room, and I don't remember 2 years of my life. And
Wow.
one day, I woke up looking in the mirror, and I saw all this gray hair on my face, and I didn't recognize myself. And
Mm.
I finally came back to myself, and then I was like, I don't recognize who I am, so I checked myself into therapy. You know, like, you know, I might need some help because I don't recognize who I am, and I had to find myself again because I lost something that was valuable to me.
Right.
So when she was taken from me, she took half of me with her. So the half of me that I remember wasn't here. So,
Hmm.
you know, that's why I try to encourage, you know, therapy and stuff, you know, and you know, when my voice was killed, you know, it was just like you know, that brung everything back.
Yeah. Mm. Did you ever get I know you said did you were alcoholic at one point, right?
And I wasn't getting drunk. You know, like I was drink like when my sons died, like I found out on Facebook. I didn't even get a phone call. I found out the next day. So
Wow.
I was messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really going through like some traumatic things in my brain. And you know, the person who killed my sons killed itself. So I couldn't, it wasn't no way to exact no revenge or no anger or no frustration. And it was
Mhm.
just like, what am I supposed to do? And the only thing I could do was think to go to therapy. But for a long time I masked a lot of my pain and anger behind alcohol. And I know
Mhm.
alcohol is not the way to do it, but that was the way that my body chose. You know, like take yourself into a place where you won't feel nothing. And I
Right.
allowed that to, you know, I allowed that to be in my life. And I know it's gonna be people who judge me for that, but that's what I did. You know, like that's how I responded to that situation, you know.
Right.
So
Right. And we all respond differently with what we're going through. Like I said, some people sleep a lot, some people drink a lot of alcohol, you know, some people get on drugs, some people eat a lot. So there's different behaviors that when we are not dealing with things properly that we do. And like I said, it's okay as long as you can admit that and get the help that you need. Um, it's nothing wrong with that. And I really thank you for your story. My condolences to you. And you know, I didn't know about your children and stuff, so I'm really sorry about that. But you're right. Therapy is something that should be, I would say, it's essential for some people. Um, and it's something that is much needed, especially in our communities, Black and Brown communities. And like I said, with all people need to be aware of their mental health. All people. So I'm gonna come back to you, Lou. I'm gonna see what
mhm.
Mel Dub has to add with this. How you doing, Mel? Thank you for coming up. Mel, are you there? Get off mute, sweetie.
Hey, Selena, can you give me just 1 second? I
Okay.
gotta take care of something real quick.
Okay. So I'm gonna share with you one more video and then we're gonna go back to, and Lou, if you have something to say, you're more than welcome. I'm gonna go to another video and we're gonna talk about what is mental health. It's a mental health document that it just gives you a brief history. I'm not going to play all of it because it's a very, very long video. This is under fair use. This is the mentality, the mental health doc. I would say doc. Kind of because I like documentary films, and so it's about the mental health. So I really want to show this. And I'm not going to play again. I'm not playing all of it, but it just gives you some history of what the stigmas are behind mental illness.
To feel better.
It's really hard to talk about even to this day.
Our traditional ways of hospitalizing people, it's not working.
Mental illness and poverty, those things kill you.
Meds at one point were like $4,000 a month.
Did you hear that? Mental illness and poverty it's I mean, it's like you have two strikes with mental illness and poverty. That's why a lot of
Mhm.
people fall by the wayside.
whole asylum and people being restrained and locked up is not what we do now.
Mental illness is real. Our suicide rates are higher than they've ever been. People who have mental illness die sooner, so people are dying.
People think that you look at somebody and can see they've got a problem. People have mental illness and they look like normal people.
Couldn't afford the house, couldn't afford to take care of my grandmother. When people's minds break, they break.
McLaren and Behavioral Health, how can I help you?
Hi, Carmen, Dr. Lathia, you paged me?
I have a 23-year-old female in the emergency room who is suicidal. She overdosed on approximately 40 Cymbalta tablets. She does have a history of cutting. She recently started seeing Dr. Ingram outpatient. Poor sleep, poor appetite. Her UDS was negative. Her alcohol level was 0.059 at 11:30 a.m. She has no significant medical issues. Could I get admission orders for her?
It says, although nearly 1 in 5 Americans live with mental illness, only a fraction are receiving proper treatment. Wow. Hey, Broken.
What is that giant pumpkin or what's the name?
Yeah.
The outside in the terrace we used to sit, right?
Yeah.
You know that? It's very, very good. Actually, my father, he wanted one of us to become an actor. My dream was always to be a writer and a film director, actually. But then I got into medical school, and then I found out that medicine is something that I like, and psychiatry is something that is my passion now.
What is
Dal,
it?
yeah.
Bhavik, dal, that tadka dal. Yeah, and this is peppers with tofu. Because my son is vegan, older one.
Taking care of the brain, the mind, the psychosocial stressors, and having the compassion that's what psychiatry is, in my opinion. Okay, let's eat. I have two passions, my writing and psychiatry. Hopefully, through this medium, this documentary, we can actually let the people know to bring your family members right away. Don't waste time. You could, just like somebody had a heart attack, and if they need a stent placement or a bypass surgery, you have to bring them right away. If somebody has a first psychotic break or a first manic break, they need to come right away.
Over 43 million Americans experience a mental illness every year. Less than half receive professional treatment.
At first, you don't know where it's coming from. For me, a lot of times it happened driving down the road. So imagine you're cruising down the road 70 miles an hour, enjoying a good song. Then all of a sudden, you can't hear, your arms are numb, you can't breathe. You're convinced you're dying, having a stroke, or you're going to lose your mind right there. And there's no safe place to go other than the shoulder of the road. And that's the type of fear that people live with that have it. They know that when it comes on, it's a trauma every time. You get re-traumatized with each panic attack. And I think that's how the disorder develops. Once you've had one, then you have another that kind of snowball.
I was feeling so dark and nasty inside that I was, seeking out situations that would take that feeling outside so that I could rationalize it, so that I could say, well, this is why I don't feel good. So a lot of hopelessness, a lot of impulsiveness, a loss of rationality, a loss of sense of self.
It's mind-boggling. It's frustrating. It's amazing at times. It's almost like being in this like very toxic friendship. You're like, oh my God, yeah, let's go do all of these things. And you're like, oh my God, I have all of these other things at home that I should be doing. And you're just like, I'm having fun with my friend though. And my friend is ADHD.
What will happen to Fred now? What happens to all of them? The men and women from every walk of life who each year pass through doors like this, into the mental hospitals of our land. 3,200 men and women all gathered together in a modern mental institution, a city in itself, complete with every facility for effective treatment. A favorable environment and human comforts are essential in any therapeutic system.
Says psychiatric patients were once routinely committed for life in state mental hospitals, known as insane asylums. So this is one of the stigmas that some people see when they talk about, you know, when people are diagnosed or they feel like they're going crazy, that this is one of the stigmas. People do not want to be seen like they're insane, they're crazy, and that they'll be locked up in an insane asylum. It's sad, but it's true. This holds a lot of people from getting the help that they need. Are you available, Mel? Or are you still busy?
No, I'm right here. I was just reading, and I was just looking up information on suicide rates.
Thank you, Rollo.
Yeah, sorry about that. You know, the kids act crazy,
you.
so I got to do crazy stuff with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right.
Go ahead, Bill.
But no, yes. So yesterday I did a live about talking about mental health as well, and I guess all of us who have that educator spirit in us, we see it in such a different way. And it may have touched our spirit to want to address and have a conversation about it. So, hey, I love the fact that you have taken that moment to really bring that awareness conversation coming in. Mental health awareness is real. You need to be in touch with your mental health. Mental illness is very real. So whenever I come up, and since I'm coming up here to speak, and I might have something that may sound a little bit skeptical at times, or cynical, I'm not saying that mental health is not it should not be a priority, or a mental illness is not something that is detrimental to our society. I will say that I am growing deeply concerned over people self-diagnosing themselves with mental illness. And one of the trends I'm starting to see is we're starting to see even our youngest of kids, or our younger kids now, the first thing they're doing is they're introducing you they're introducing their mental illness to you within the first few minutes of a conversation. Because think about it, Selena, how many times have you heard someone tell you off the rip when you talk to them, even if for the first time, oh, well, I have anxiety.
Right.
You know, well, I suffer from depression.
Right.
And, so we get these, I guess I'd say self-diagnosis, or we're forced to be diagnosed in certain ways. That is it really that you have anxiety? So I'm going to share the story with you real quick, and then I'll go on mute. I talked about the fact that I have a fear of heights, and I talked about I was driving up a mountain one day with my wife. My wife has a fear of heights as well. So I guess you could classify me having anxiety because I don't like going in high places. Right. But I knew we had to do it. So I was able to suppress whatever supposed anxiety I had to get the objective done that needed to be done. So I always say, if we have a real mental illness, are we really able to do that? Are we really able to compartmentalize when that illness is on display versus when we can suppress it? Because if that's the case, I would argue that it's not a mental illness. I think it's just a matter of us overcoming adversity. What do you think on that?
I think yes. I agree with you. On sometimes that is very true. Sometimes just because we are depressed, maybe because we're sad about something, that doesn't mean that we are a depressed person. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Perfect
But
sense.
okay, so just because we have anxiety, like I have a fear of lightning and thunder, right? Some people, I forgot what the name of that phobia is. Some people will say that's a phobia, but to me, I just don't like lightning and thunder. I just don't like it. I've learned to deal with it. I've learned to sleep through it, but I just don't like the sound. I don't like the lightning, but I wouldn't consider myself having a phobia. Now, the only time that you should consider maybe it being something, um like a disorder, is if it's an occurring um symptom that's always happening in your life, or you have been diagnosed by a psychiatrist, a certified board psychiatrist that studies the mind, that studies these symptoms and disorders. That would be the only time that I would say that maybe it is something that you are, you have that disorder. But if it is just maybe some bad behavior, like you like to lie a lot, or you're just a mean person, that's not a disorder. That's a behavioral problem.
Well, and to what you just said there, that's kind of where I was going with some of the concerns about. I feel like we're losing the mental health battle because we are not confronting solutions. We're not looking for rectifiable solutions in those matters. So, for example, I did on the video I had yesterday. It was I used an example of a guy, and I showed a video of a guy who was dressed up as an adult baby. It blows my mind, right? You would say, okay, well, something's wrong with him, but he was able to compartmentalize that behavior from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock because he worked a normal job. Right. It was only when he went home that he decided to do it. Now, our mental health professionals, the way it's set up now, mental health is a $500 billion industry. One estimate was it's 285 billion. Another one said it was 575 billion. There's a lot of money to be made in mental health. So I can see a lot of mental health specialists, certified behavioral specialists, who are in that profession being generous in their diagnosis of people, because we see it happening with you and I have seen this happen with children getting labeled with ADHD, getting labeled with all these different things at the earliest of age. And you don't see any pattern of behavior change with these kids, even if they have medication. And these kids, the behavior continues to even worsen, even though they've gotten this diagnosis. So what I'm concerned is that we're now giving people an out to not cope and navigate. Like, I like what you said. You said you have a counselor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between having a counselor versus being medically diagnosed and said you need medication to solve. You can only take medication to solve this problem and make it go away. I'm getting really concerned that the reason we have such an increased rate of suicide among teens, especially, is because those teens have not been taught how to deal with adversity, because they think that they have this mental disorder or this mental illness, and that prevents them from saying, you know what, if someone doesn't like my post on Instagram, right, and I can deal with that, as opposed to someone, because between 2000 and 2018, that's where you saw the highest rate of suicide increase. Guess what happened between that time? That's where you saw the highest usage of social media. So we haven't taught our kids how to cope with social media and cope with the social media expectations. And I think you've been on here long enough. You've seen we've had a lot of mental cases on social media, to that point. And anybody can get a YouTube page, right? I mean, anybody. Right. So I'm just saying we have to do a better job the mental health aspect is good, but we have to also do a better job of teaching our kids the importance of rejection and coping with rejection,
Right.
and coping with disappointment, coping with all of these different things, because you can't unlike or unfollow or block your problems away, because they're always going to exist. And I
Amen.
think when our kids realize that in the real world, that's where they struggle. And a side note, I knew this, but I forgot it. The highest rate of suicide people, do you know who they are?
I'm assuming African American boys.
Oh, no. They're just on the rise. The highest rate is people who are 85 years or older.
Wow.
It's our super seniors. And I knew this, and I forgot about it because when my mother passed away, for a stretch of time, that's all my father talked about, because they had that heartbroken syndrome.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I'll go on mute.
Oh, and I'm sorry about your mother as well, Mel.
Don't apologize. She's in heaven. She's with the Lord. I'm blessed. I was blessed to have her for 38 years. No, you don't have to. But I appreciate it though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, excellent.
Go ahead, Lou.
My bad. No, I was just gonna say that during my journey through therapy, what I learned is that, the way that I lost the people that I love through violence was the same way that I wanted to exact how I felt. And I wanted other people to feel what I felt. And
yeah, that's understandable.
My therapist, when I sat and talked to him about, the things that happened to me and how they happened, it was like, that's understandable, but you have to find another outlet. And
right.
I couldn't understand or comprehend what he was saying at first, because it was like, like the woman I love was shot in the head. My kids was killed. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 of my kids were killed at one time. So I wanted, anybody or any person, anybody who said anything about them, my mind was like, I want you to feel what I feel, so you would know. And I know that wasn't the proper way to think,
right,
or to feel, but that's how I felt.
Exactly.
And it was, what I'm saying, my therapist told me it's okay to feel that, it's not okay to enact it. So right. I was one of those people that was like, the people that I love, the people that I put my energy, time, effort, and everything into have been taken away from me through violence. So that was my way to feel better, was to hurt other people. And I had to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I had started doing therapy. Because like I said, I don't remember 2 years of my life. I got stuff that I've done within those 2 years that I don't even remember, that my wife reminds me of. And I don't even remember that shit. 2 years of my life was gone. Like, so it's just that I felt, that violence was the way to get my just.
Right.
And that's the wrong way to be, but that's how I felt.
So the person that actually did it, they unalived themselves as well.
My boys. Yeah. After okay, let me change the words. After he unalived my 2 sons, he took his own life.
Wow.
Same day. I found out the next day. Like, they didn't even call me, because they told me I was gonna be on the manhunt. And they probably was right. Because I was, finding out on Facebook, and then you're a friend of the family telling you, and not my baby's, not my children's mother telling me this. Right. Like, and then when I finally get in contact with her, she at the police station talking, so she can't talk. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going through a million emotions at one time. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, but what I learned through therapy is that, besides all that, what I learned through therapy is that, you have to take a deep breath. You got to sit back. You got to talk to somebody. You got to find somewhere to find some sort of peace, because if you don't, depend on what type of side you are, it could be.
Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
Did you
you gotta
ever
ask me something.
did you ever want to unalive yourself after
No,
this happened? Oh, okay.
never me. Like,
Okay.
never
Yeah,
me. I don't
you're
mean to
kind of like
laugh.
me. I'm more homicidal than than the other.
Yeah.
So I can see that now, and I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm not saying that my situation is worse than anybody else. I'm not saying that mine is better than anybody else. All I'm saying is that, we all deal with our traumas different.
Right.
And to antagonize the trauma of someone is not a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
is.
it's just like, I'm being vulnerable right now. So if people want to use this against me, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say that therapy is something that we all need at some point.
Right.
You know.
I agree.
And sometimes therapy could be with a friend that you talk to on the phone. It could be a stranger, you sitting at the bus stop, or you just sitting on a bench and you just talk to them. Someone who's going to be impartial and not going to judge you for the things that you do in life. And we need that as humans, just as humans, period. Like we need that so at least we could figure it out, or at least, what I'm saying, somebody to just listen. They don't even have to give you no advice or tell you anything. They could just listen to you and you'll feel better. But this world has become so vicious when it comes to, emotions and the inside of a person, that it's just, you don't know what to do.
And you can't trust a lot of people either, with what you're going through. You have to definitely be selective of who you tell your struggles to, because people can and will use it against you.
That's why I resorted to alcohol. That's why I may have been suicidal, tried to drink myself to death because I couldn't get drunk for a while. Like I was just drinking. Like, sister, when I tell you I was drinking, like I was drinking a gallon and not drunk. Like, my emotions superseded everything, because I was so into my emotions that it wasn't nothing that could help me. And it was like, yo, I need to chill out on drinking. Like I'm not even getting drunk. I'm drinking a gallon. I got bottles right now. I can show you that I drunk and wasn't drunk, just drinking. Like
that's something else, man. I tell you.
Selena.
Or you just never know what people go through. Hey, yes, Mel.
With respect, I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. Because I can't speak too much on what I'm really thinking, and I don't want to take away from your panel. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. But I respect you, sister. I respect you. Salute to you.
And I'm gonna do, since I'm out of school, you're out of school, I'm going to make an effort to really support more of my smaller content creators that do talk about this type of stuff, different types of issues. Because see, this is what we need to do. We need to be focusing more on what is going on in the world. How can we help ourselves? How can we help other people, instead of always having to have the drama and the excitement and all of that. That's good sometimes. Excuse me, that's good sometimes, especially if you're not involved in it. But it's even better when we can talk about other different topics. And see, this is why I know a lot of people sometimes, I'm not going to say a lot of people, let me just stop this, but some people are full of shit because they ask for certain things, but they keep going to the other. So my thing is, and then it could be, some people don't like how you deliver things. You know, some people may not like your style on how you express yourself, and some people just don't like you, and that's perfectly fine. But I always say, get over, and I said it at the very beginning, get over the messenger and look at the message. What is this person actually saying? What is this person actually breaking down? See, this is what I would be more focusing on. But because we live in a society that is so drama driven, and we all want, in some kind of way, some people just want to be accepted, so they'll do and be a part and go do this and drop what they're doing to be a part of something. People are just, I don't know, like I said, but don't.
Hey, Selena, I got a simple answer for that. Just respect each other. Just give the person respect, or just don't mess with them. That's it. You don't have to do nothing more, nothing less. Just, if you don't respect the person, don't like them, don't want to interact with them, don't.
Exactly.
If you just give the person, just give each other the common, decent respect, and that's all we need to do. We don't have to do nothing extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And so that's why I say, but what I was saying too, don't, hey Slim, how are you? Don't ever say that people don't bring different type of content. Don't ever say that, because most of the time when people bring different kind of content, people will not show up. And like I said, it could be because of the messenger. But like I say, look at the message. What is the message and what are the facts? The facts are that people struggle with mental disorders. That's a fact. Some people do. Not everybody, but some. The fact is, I'm going to say my opinion is, people need to get help. And people need to know for themselves, do they struggle with these disorders? That is the whole point of this live. So this is what I'm saying to you. If people will say, well, we need this type of content, no, you don't, because you don't support it when it's in front of you. So you're full of shit, and please stop lying to yourself, because what you really want is the beef. What you really want is the drama. So stick with that and stop saying you want different type of content. And I don't care what people say about, I'm going to say Slim. Slim be a lot in the bullshit, and he be in a lot of beef. But one thing I can say about Slim will support different type of content. Slim will be over there with SBK and Miss E talking about relationships. He'll be over here when I'm talking about different things that's going on in the world, topics or things that I have, learned in life. And so there is people like that. Mel Dub has came over here. I've tried to support him. He's supported me. And, he talks about things that have nothing to do with beef. And this is how the people that are really into what you are doing and really not all about the BS.
Well, I rock with you sometimes, Selena.
Yeah, I do.
I ain't totally out the picture.
No, I'm not. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to even put you in it, but but what I'm saying is, there is people that will support you when it's real content, and so, like I said, thank you. And thank you, Lou, again for supporting me as well. And I really appreciate you for your insight and your words. And I appreciate everybody that comes in here, shows me some love. And these are how you know who your people are. So all that fake love and, it's just, people are just something else. That's why I say, I do not listen to people when they say that they want different type of content, because they are lying to themselves. They're lying, and some of people do, and like I said, I'm not putting everybody in that box, but I just can't stand these folks that want to say and see. But when I started, let me tell you, and I don't know, Lou, if you know this, if you have been watching me for a minute, But when I came on this platform, I was trying, number one, first defending myself. The other thing I was trying to do was do something different. I wasn't connected with any group. I came with my boots on the ground, doing what I do best, and that's being Selena. And I've tried to find, and I found something that I believe will work for me. Whether it works for other people or not, it works for me. So I can say when I get off here, I didn't sell my soul. I ain't looking crazy. You know, every now and then I went off and did whatever and said whatever I wanted to say because I felt like it, you know. But for the most part, I try to stick with what I felt like was best for me and my platform. And I wasn't associated with anyone, and I did what I wanted to do with what I had. And so this is my content. This is me, and I stand on it. So that's why a lot of the times I keep doing it because I believe in me, regardless of what other people have to say. I believe in me. And thank you, Goddess, because you said, Selena, you discussed topics that nobody wants to touch, and I appreciate that. Not like witchcraft, mental health, right, and etc. And so that's the kind of things I do. So I've been doing this for 2 years. So, and it's other content creators that have been doing this and been talking about different things and been talking about different subjects. So there are people that actually are doing things different. Do you get the numbers? Absolutely not all the time. If it's associated with beef, you're going to get the numbers. If it's not associated with beef and it's an informative live, it's encouraging live, maybe. It just depends on what it is. Okay. But I just wanted to stress that because I really need for people to be totally honest with themselves. Of course, some of us like a little bit of the BS. Okay, let's just keep it 100. We like a little bit of BS, but at the same time, we do go into other type of content. Because I'm a type of person, I have a lot of different sides to me. I have a lot of different interests. There's a lot of different things I'm interested in. A lot of people wouldn't believe it, but I like animals. I can go and watch a whole video on YouTube about different type of animals. Like I love elephants. And so I watch things like that. So I like true crime. I have a lot of different interests. So but I just get so irritated with the fact that people are saying they want different type of content when they keep falling for the same type of bullshit. And it's like, save me from the lies, okay? Save me from that fake support. I don't want it. Okay? So
Hey, Selena, can I respond to what you?
go ahead.
I just want to say, you respect me, I respect you. I don't care about nothing else. Because that ain't my business.
And I respect those that respect me. So
I don't care about none of that shit. When you speak to me, you say respect Lou. So I ain't got no reason to disrespect you. I don't care.
Exactly.
All that other shit that you've been going through, because I've been around for a long time. I know what you've been going through, but that ain't my business.
No.
I'm just come up here and say respect to you, and I'm gonna talk about the content. I'm not gonna talk about my personal shit and none of that. Nah, if you're talking about it, I might bring it up, but I'm gonna talk about the content. I'm gonna respect your platform. I'm gonna respect you, and I'm gonna just do what you do with me. So all that other shit, fuck that shit.
That's okay. But I got you, and that's how I feel. I respect those who respect me, and I have that same type of motto as you. He says, Mel Duff says, Selena, we got to get educators together to talk to people about the state of education, the state of our education system in the U.S. I mean, I'm down for it. You just put it together and I'll be there. I'm out for the summer just like you. So unless you're doing summer school, but just let me know and I'm down for it. Hey, Rizza, how are you? Thank you for coming through. Okay, you said your sister is a licensed mental health therapist. Wow, business is up. Okay. Yeah, you said that makes two of us, Lou. It's all about respect. Okay, so what you Mel, you want me to do it? Now I gotta do everything. Now look, in that live it's gonna be about two people. I'm gonna just be honest.
Hey, Selena, I was an art teacher back in the day. Now I was an educator at one time myself.
Oh, you did? Okay, so well, hey.
I was an art teacher. Yeah.
Okay, so wow.
I was an educator too. I did a lot of things in life. I was a gypsy. I've done a lot of things. So that's why it's easy for me to be peaceful with people from everywhere, because I've been there.
Right. I know you said you was a veteran as well.
A lot of people say that my veteran is fake, but I'm recognized as a veteran. I didn't go overseas and fight no battles or none of that. I got injured, but I still did something that most people are afraid to do.
Right. And shout out to all the veterans, because like I said, if it wasn't for y'all, because I think I would be bold enough. I'll be scared as hell, but
I'm 3 generations in,
Yeah. See, I had a uncle that was in World War II, a great uncle. And then I had some other family that, young men and women that have been into, military and in the army and stuff. So I have a little bit background with that, but like I said, I should have went. I thought a long time ago. I said I should have went. Instead of going to college, after I got out of high school, I should have went to the service.
Getting in debt and owing money and
right. I should have did that, but
the scam.
It is what it is. I mean, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I thought about it too. I said I should have went to the service so I can get my school free. I wouldn't have to get no loans, financial aid. Financial aid is fine, but they only give you a little when you're going off to these universities. You don't have to come and go get you a loan. But anyway,
but you know what I'm gonna say, Miss Selena? You are where you are because of the path that you walk, so it's okay. So all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas don't mean nothing, because if you in a good place right now, that means that you earned this good place that you're at, regardless of what decision you made in life.
Right.
So it's okay. So don't look at it like I would be better if I did this, but you in the state of mind that's gonna lead you somewhere.
Right.
So
I know that's right.
But I'm gonna drop down after that. I don't want to do that, but I appreciate you, respect to you, Miss Selena, and thank you for allowing me to at least speak out some of the things that about me and the topic that you're talking about, because I hope that my story could help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, get therapy if you need it. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you need to talk to somebody and you don't want it to be nobody who know you, so they judge you, go to some. It's ways to get a therapist. You don't have to, even if you ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a thing called what is it called? The Hippocratic Oath?
Yeah.
Like all doctors take that.
Yeah, all of them. All helping professionals, really.
They have to take that oath to become a doctor, because that's the oath. That's just like joining the military.
Exactly.
Like you got to help. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take that oath. So they gotta help you. So even if you think you can't afford it, just try it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all need help, and in some way, and we've been separated for so long, we don't realize that we need each other, but we can't figure that shit out because we got our traumas and shit, and it make us not trust each other. But we gotta somehow figure this shit out. And if you need to go see somebody that ain't part of your family, go do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but try it. Don't just look down on it and fuck what people think. Like, shit. Like, as much shit that been said about me, like, I'm still on panels talking about my life and talking about shit that's going on. Like, I don't care what people think about me. Only I can tell the truth about my life. So fuck what y'all think.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help people. That's all I've been doing since I've been on this motherfucker is try to help people because I've been fucked up. I've been in a dark ass place where I ain't see shit, but I was still moving around. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember 2 years of my life. Like, come on. Like I'm trying to help people, Selena. But you know,
Well,
I just wanted to say that.
keep trying to help people and keep trying to do what you know, I would say your purpose is, because everybody's purpose is different. So keep doing what you can do to help other people to not go down some of those same, you know, paths that maybe you went down. So like I said, that's all you can do.
I appreciate you, Selena, for letting me up and talk about the topic.
All right, yeah.
Anytime I ask them jump on your link, I'm going to talk about the topic. So you ain't ever got to say as long as you stay on topic.
Well, and this wasn't directed to just you. It's directed to anybody because some people go left. And I say, now this is not this is the open panel, but it's not where I'm just talking about random topics. So it wasn't directed necessarily to you. It's for everybody that comes on this one, because this one was something that was I had a specific, you know, topic in mind, and this was it, you know. So I appreciate you, Lou, for showing up and showing out, and I hope that you have healing on your journey.
Hey, as long as I got good people that's gonna just say, Lou, what up, though, or respect, I'm cool. Like you know, that's why I block people, so I don't see it, so it don't antagonize me. You know what I'm saying? They say it's childish, but that's me being an adult and understanding, like, yo, this person gonna say something that's gonna make me mad, so I'm gonna just block this person.
Well, Lou,
you know?
I'm the block queen, so I can relate to that more than anybody.
Well, I guess I'm the block king then. The first one.
Yeah, hey, the queen and the king. I will block in a minute if I don't want to be blocked.
Hey, look, respect to you, sister, because I'm gonna always give you respect. And hey, I ain't gonna say nothing bad about you, and I hope that you don't say nothing bad about me. I'm not.
You know, so far I haven't said anything bad about you. You know, of course, you know, certain opinions about certain situations.
You have an opinion, yeah.
I keep things to myself. You know, everything I don't have to voice. And you know, there's certain parties that I'm a little bit more closer to, and so those are things that, you know, that's personal. But as far as like being on my platform and people respecting me and I respecting them, I have no issue with that. I try to treat people accordingly to how they have, you know, dealt with me, and I always, you know, have boundaries and on how I want to, you know, conduct my platform and stuff. So I just, like I said, as long as people are respectful, hey, I'm gonna be respectful to you, and that's, you know, that's just being a decent human being and an adult.
And Selena, you can speak your opinion as long as it's respectful. Like,
yes, that's true too. But
I don't care what you think. Like, my thing is, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion, and I have to respect that. And as long as it ain't like, oh, you a bitch ass nigga, you this. As long as you got, you know the path that I'm talking about. You know, like, you can have your opinion, and I can't get mad at your opinion because you respect me.
Right.
So that, like, I don't care about your opinion like that. Like, if it's honest, I have to accept it. The truth is you have to accept the truth regardless of who give it to you.
Yes, that is very true. I just said you might not like the messenger, but the message, you got to look at that. So, but yeah, I appreciate
the truth, sister. Respect to you, sister. I'm gonna drop down and let you finish what you're doing.
You're welcome on my open panels. So, yeah, like I said, I haven't had an issue with you. You've always been respectful to me on my platform, so that will be given to you. So
okay.
Have a great weekend. Okay.
You as well.
All right. Be blessed. Guys, I am tired. This has been a little longer than, well, I think it's 2 hours so far. So I really appreciate you guys coming through and showing me some love. I was going to show one more video, but I don't know if you guys can handle that because y'all have been here 2 hours. But I will show a little bit of it, you know, and then I'm going to get off of here. But I really appreciate those people that did come up and, you know, give their insight on what was going on with this mental health documentary. I was just showing you some of the history of, you know, how people dealt with the people that were mentally, you know, disturbed or had mental disorders or seen as being insane, how they kind of started out when, you know, I would even say back in the Renaissance, even in the rolling 20s and the 30s and the 40s, those when they would have those insane asylums and have these people doing lobotomies on their you know, brain, opening their brain and electric shock and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to show a little bit history on that. But if you are interested in this documentary, it's called Mentality, and it's the mental health documentary by Garrett Morgan. So if you would like to check that out, that is the page for that. I'm going to share this one last video with you, and then I'm going to go on about my business and exit stage left. But it says, do all S-word survivors think the same? So I was going to share this because this is pretty interesting. And if anybody has any issues with the S word and or you want to unalive yourself, they do have hotlines. They have the National S Prevention Lifeline. They have the Trevor Project. They have one for Veterans Crisis Line, and they have a crisis text line. They also have an option for deaf or hard of hearing. So I'm going to share a little bit of this video that I thought was pretty interesting. If you have a few more minutes, I'm not going to share all of it, but this is with Jubilee. So if you would like to look up this content, it's called Jubilee, and this is for the title is Do All S-Word Survivors Think the Same? And it's Spectrum. So I'm going to play a little bit of that.
I don't think it does all the time, especially because there's so many things that can happen with any sort of mental illness, which makes it then a problem when you're trying to explain it to someone because they think, oh, like in 13 Reasons Why, and it's not always like that.
Sometimes they romanticize suicide and depression in media, and it's kind of like a weird balancing act because there's some mental illnesses that are like seen as trendy or attractive, like anxiety or depression.
And like especially with Twitter and stuff like that, everybody's like talking about it, everybody's retweeting about it. It's not a trend. It's an actual issue that people live with every single day. The media doesn't portray like people like myself. I'm a Black lesbian woman, and I've dealt with depression for a very long time. I've had suicidal thoughts. I've attempted it. So for me to not have that representation, it's kind of hard for me to relate to it.
Well, I think that the media, it doesn't portray it correctly, but I also think that they're on the way up. It's not good now, but it's getting better, I think.
My family understands why I wanted to end my life. 3, 2, 1.
The first time I attempted was in middle school, and that was kind of understandable for my mom and my sister, because at that time we were going through a really nasty divorce. So when that happened in middle school, they kind of understood that that's what led to it. And then 2 years ago, I was drugged and assaulted. And that morning after I'd been found, it was such a traumatic experience that my mom walked out and I was just leaning over the balcony. And I remember breaking down crying because of the fact that I thought I was gonna throw myself off. Please come here. So I think I was fortunate enough to have a family that was very understanding of everything I was going through.
I feel like my family didn't really understand. A lot of people still don't know like what's happened in my past. I was assaulted and attempted, and I was roommates with my best friend. She didn't even know. No one knew. So I was handling it all internally, and now that they kind of know more or less, like I just wish they would have talked to me. They would have asked questions, because I was in college just all alone, dealing with it by myself, and no one knew.
In my family, my parents are both immigrants. My mom was a refugee, so everyone in my family struggled with severe mental health and PTSD, and we just never spoke about it. I think the focus was make sure you assimilate, make sure you get a good job, make sure you're surviving, make sure people see you as, an American.
My family had a really hard time even understanding that I was struggling with mental health, because they thought I was doing so well in school and I have all these friends, I'm hanging out with them all the time. How could you have depression?
I mean, I just don't talk about it with my family. I mean, when I told my sisters that I was coming on here, they're like, oh, what's it about? I was like, oh, it's called Suicide Survivors. And they're like, wait, did you? I was like,
I didn't actually want to die. 3, 2, 1.
Every time I go through a depressive stage, I just want someone to hold me back. And that's why I don't think I actually want to die. It's more like I want to live, but it's really hard to do that.
every moment that passed by, I was like more and more ready to like meet my maker. I saw it as like the easiest way out. Go somewhere where no one can find me and then I'll be all right. I don't know how I was found, you know, like somehow, some way my friend like had a gut feeling, and then all of a sudden like cops were like knocking on my window in my car.
I went above and beyond when I was trying to attempt. Me and my sister, she was begging me to go to the doctor to tell someone, and I was very insistent, like I don't want to. So in those moments, yeah, definitely I did want to die, but it was only because I didn't know any other solution.
I definitely wanted to end it all at the moment that I was at. I was ready to end it, and I made sure that I was in a place where nobody could find me. Thinking back to when I was sitting in that creek and everything that was going on, I'm really happy that I got up and walked away. I had kind of an epiphany when I was down there and going in and out of consciousness that my life is valuable.
So I'm gonna play this last one here. This is under fair use. This is, do all survivors think the same? And so they're just showing where they are in the spectrum. And so hey Carl, I just want to share this, and this is the last one. Suicide is selfish. So let's see what they choose.
3, 2, 1.
I think it is pretty selfish. It's a decision that you're making on your own. You're also not putting much consideration into your family members, your friends. And I think the effects of you killing yourself and leaving your friends and family behind could potentially lead to maybe one of them doing it. My mother, you know, she was going through a divorce right around the time when I tried to kill myself. And she told me that she thought about it too, and that she wanted to, but she knew, like, when she saw me go through it, that she couldn't. Killing yourself could be selfish because of the other people that would be affected.
See, I get where you're coming from, but I also for me, the first time I attempted, in my mind, that was going to be the option that would make things easier for my family. And even the second time, for me, it was what was going to make things easier because in my mind, my family didn't want somebody that had just been drugged and assaulted. Like, that's a huge burden to be carrying. And so I didn't want to place that burden that I was going to have to go through and the financial burden of that on my family.
But I mean, look at all of us. I mean, we all thought that was our option. We thought that that was the way to go. And afterwards, we saw the benefits of actually surviving and not having to be dead.
And that's why I moved, is because I agree with everything that you said. And then I also agree with you about the family situation and about how thinking about your family and thinking about the people that love you. I recently just got reconnected with my biological father. If I would have ended my life at 16, that would have never happened. He would have found me and he would have got the horrible news like, oh yeah, your daughter committed suicide at 16. So that aspect of it does make me feel like, yes, that is selfish because there are still people who I don't even know who love me.
I agree with you saying that suicide can be selfish because it's such a huge trauma to a lot of people, but for people going through that actual moment, what I felt most frustrated about was, okay, people don't want me to die. People want me to live, but I don't know how I'm going to live because at that time, I didn't know if I could even start medical transition. And I know trans people in Korea are not even employed, so how am I even gonna get a job? I need some kind of support to continue living, but that was so hard to find.
So that is the end of that. If you would like to check out the video, it's by Jubilee. Do all S survivors think the same? In Spectrum. So if you would like to check that out, that would be the video to look at. I just thought it was pretty interesting on people's mindsets on how, they see the S word. And I don't know why, sometimes you can say it and sometimes you can't on YouTube. I have no idea. I got to read some more on the community guidelines. But anyway, I wanted to inform you of this, guys. Like I said, mental health is real. And I wanted to make you guys aware that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And all of May was actually Mental Health Month. And next year, God willing, I will be better prepared to where I will be probably next year on each day or every other day of May that I go live, talk a little bit about different disorders. So people can see and understand, when you see certain things, what may be actually going on. Again, we can't diagnose people because we're not psychiatrists, but it does help you to understand some people's behavior. And thank you so much, Emmanuel. I really appreciate that. That's why I said some of these people that are talking about they need different kind of content, they are lying to themselves. They do not want this type of content, or they just don't like the messenger. Either way, the fact still remains the same. This is going on in our society. This is going on in our world, and it needs to be talked about. So get beyond the messenger and see the message. I can repeat that for 100 times, and and I will, because too many people look beyond different things because they're looking at the person that's actually giving the information. But again, this is what is going on in the world right now. Right now. Okay. Not right now, but right now. So take it for what it is. Like I said, you can't, can nobody say that Selena don't be bringing this type of content. And if you do say, you a damn lie, because I know what I bring to my platform and I know what I talk about. I talk about different things that most people are not interested in because they just not. And that is fine. For those who are interested in this is who I'm talking to. This is the audience that I am targeting. Okay, I'm not targeting a sector and I'm not targeting a group. I'm targeting individuals that have the same like mind as me. So thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for my supporters that showed me some love, whether it was pressing the like button or giving a donation or giving a super chat, Cash App, whatever you do, whatever you will do. I appreciate you so much. I hope that you like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, like CP3 said, press that like button. Love y'all to Reese's Pieces. Bye.
Selena. It's a bad baby. Oak Cliff girl. Can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl. Put them heels on and prove.
Welcome to Selena's Couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows.
It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You gon' be my number one lover. Spend the night making love to each other. With the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, and I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana boo boo.